Good evening. I'd like to call to order North Branford Planning and Zoning regular meeting for June 20th, 2024. Please join me in rising and saluting the flag. Please remove your hats by saluting the flag. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce the members of the commission seated here tonight. To my left is Ron Sienna, regular member. To his left is Trish Mace, regular member of the commission, and to his left is Barry Condor, the secretary for the commission. To my far right is Janet Crane, our recording secretary, and seated at the administrative table this evening is David Perkins. And finally, my name is Robert Nowak. I am the chairman for the commission tonight. Next order of business is to consider the approval of the minutes of June 6th. Let's see, we have enough members to consider its approval. Please take a moment to review the minutes if you haven't already. Any commission member have addition, corrections, or adjustments to the minutes, let me know. Then when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes when you are ready.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 6, 2024.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I gotta abstain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Second it.
Yeah, it's still second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion on the minutes, approving the minutes for June 6, 2024? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
Okay, 3 approvals and 1 abstention. Motion carries for June 6, 2024 approval of the minutes. Next item on the agenda is the consideration for public hearing, possible action for application 2024-10, 118 Personage Hill Road, R40 zone. Barry, would you mind reading the legal notice into the record, please?
Yes, Thursday, June 6, 2024, and Thursday, June 13, 2024. Legal notice, North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission. Notice is hereby given that the North Branford Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, June 20th, 2024 at the North Branford Town Hall, 909 Foxen Road, North Branford, Connecticut, to consider the following. A, application number 2024-10, 118 Parsonage Hill Road, re-subdivision request for a proposed 10-lot subdivision, quote-unquote, Hunters Ridge Estates, owner, Luancy Construction, LLC, applicant, Joseph Saraligo, Luancy Construction. At the hearing, all interested persons may appear and be heard, and written communications will be received. Copies of proposals are on file for public inspection in the Town Hall Planning Department. Robert Nowak, Chairman. And that was inserted in the legal ad in the sound.
This is a public hearing, so the purpose of this meeting is to hear all pertinent testimony of those in support of and opposition to the application before the commission. Procedure for the public hearing tonight will be open. Testimony will be heard in the following order. Applicant's going to explain the proposal and project. Staff and commission members question and comment on the proposal, and then it'll be open to the general public to have an opportunity to speak in support of and opposition to the request. When addressing the commission, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. When all sides have spoken, the public hearing will be closed. No further public discussion will be entertained. After the public hearing is closed, the commission will vote on the request. And the applicant is here. Introduce your name and address for the record.
Sure. Good evening, Jim Preddy, Criscolo Engineering, 420 East Main Street, Branford. I'm representing Mr. Charliglio and Launcy Construction for this project at 118 Parsonage Hill Road. You may be familiar with at least part of the project. Some number of years ago, we came here to get the first 4 lots approved and a common drive that was actually built to town standards with the anticipation that would at some point be extended a little further. This is so the ad says 10 new lots. There are 4 total now. There are 10 new lots, one of the 10 being the remaining land, so it's not really a building lot at this point. So there's only 9 new building lots being proposed. But because of the extra land will be coming off the cul-de-sac, you're only allowed to have 12 addresses on the cul-de-sac per the regulations, so that's the 10th lot. So 2 of the existing houses that will be readdressed to the new road name, where right now they're on Parsonage Hill Road. This very similarly mimics a subdivision that was approved on this property almost identically in 2006. That's the subdivision that was approved in 2006. We moved some lot lines around a little bit, but basically all the lots are in more or less the same locations. We have there's been countless number of test bits done on the property for septic evaluation. We did get, just today, and I think I forwarded that to you, approval from East Shore for, at least for the subdivision purposes. We will need to go back to East Shore for each lot if this gets approved, for them to individually approve each lot. We have, the road is basically a dead straight cul-de-sac ending at the maximum length of, I believe it's 750 feet, with the cul-de-sac turnaround at the end. Again, there will be 9 new building houses, kind of half and half on either side of the road. A couple of rear lots, most of them have are frontage lots though. We have been met with staff, engineering and planning a couple of times actually over the road design and the drainage, and I believe we've satisfied the town engineer regarding the drainage detention and that sort of thing. We do show proposed monumentation on the corners of all lots, including concrete monuments at the curves of the road. We are showing street trees to be planted. We did get address numbers from the town. We've included that on the plan at this point, or potential address numbers. These will all be private wells and septic systems. We did reach out to Simon Well Drilling. We did also forward a letter that he has no concerns that the wells will affect any of the surrounding properties or each lot separately. All these lots would be over an acre. In some cases, they're an acre and a half or 2. We did look at the original traffic study that was done for the subdivision in 2006 for the same number of lots. While the traffic engineer did flag a couple of items that farther down the road that he thought the town should improve, just generally speaking, but the conclusion was that the addition of the 9 houses would not, or at the time the 13 houses would not actually adversely impact the roads either way, but his recommendation was still that there were a couple areas that the town could improve on the road. I don't believe any of that ever happened. guess I don't. So the first 4 lots were built by Mr. Charlie Leo, and they're all occupied. To my knowledge, I think everybody's happy there. I think the people that had purchased those houses were made aware that this would be possibly being extended for some more houses. I think that's all the facts. Is there anything you'd like to add at this point? Or no? Okay.
Jim, was there any conditions back in 2006 for the approval that you recall?
Not that I recall. There was some.
There were no odd conditions.
Yeah.
So you were in receipt of the, for the record, Victor Benny to the Planning and Zoning, June 18th. There was 9 bullets.
Yes, I believe most of them are statements, basically commenting on what we've already addressed.
Okay.
I will say there was something that we did. There was a couple of drainage structures that got added in Parsonage Hill Road when we did the first 4 houses at the request of the previous town engineer.
Okay, that's true. Commission members have any questions, comments for Jim?
I don't know if it's for now or for after, but just the fire marshal's memo. He poses more questions versus approval, so I don't know. Do you have any
Are you-
updates?
Are you aware of that, Jim? June 4th, the fire marshal?
He's not sure if the cul-de-sac has enough turning radius.
No, the turning radius is fine. I think his concern more was about whether there was enough water on site.
No. Are they accessible for fire department apparatus, including cul-de-sac turning radius?
Yes, they are.
Says he or says who? Like, how do we know that?
Well, it's true. I mean, it's
on the
you look
map.
at the site plan, it's true. They're building the cul-de-sac to the
The road standards.
To the
for-
road
Oh,
standards.
town road standards.
Yes.
Okay. That's all, because usually memos have statements versus questions, that's all. That's why I'm confused.
I agree.
Yeah. Usually it's, I approve, I've looked at the cul-de-sac and it's big enough. But because they're being built to town road standards are big enough for the turning radius of the vehicle.
Correct.
Okay. What about to the enough water supply? Who answers that?
He does. That was not an issue in the 2006 subdivision when the fire marshal was the same fire marshal. And it's a little bit difficult for me to answer a question with a question, and it's hard for the applicant to answer it. I mean, if he has a problem with one of his regulations, he needs to state that.
Yeah, that's why I'm just confused. I don't used to seeing him state questions versus answers. So,
I think we can follow up with him on that. I've been
Yeah,
pushing
especially
him
the
to get an
water.
answer.
yeah.
This is a new road off of Parsonage Hill?
Yes, part of it's there already, if you've been by there. When we built the first 4 houses, the common drive was built to town standards. So if you drive by there, it looks like a town road. It's just not extended all the way.
So this will be a town road?
It will ultimately be a town road, yes. Yes, I guess maybe I didn't answer the right question. It is not yet a town road, but it will be.
Because I noticed there's no name for the road.
There is, I don't know if you guys have the updated plans. There is.
Did you hear him?
Stefano's one.
Ron, the new plan is on your
This is the new one.
Not the
Where's
one.
that?
The one.
No, this is the one that was mailed, this is the new one.
Okay.
There is a proposed name for the street, and there are proposed street numbers for it, which is part of your responsibility to okay the street numbers as well as the name.
Right, the zoning secretary reached out to the assessor and made sure there wasn't any conflict.
Yeah, no, I did, looking at the map. The old section, doesn't have a cul-de-sac.
Because at this point, it's just a private drive, it's not a town road yet,
It's like a
the
dead
part
end
that exists.
Driveway.
Okay, or it's okay with it. No other questions?
Jim, is there intent to put something at the end of the new cul-de-sac? There seems to be a road and then an access to the drainage ditch?
That's, well, that was part of the town engineer's comments. They wanted an access road for the detention basin and the, what looks like, a box out area there is an easement for the town to maintain the basin.
Right, on page 6 of 6, it goes the opposite direction towards the rest of the property. Is there intent to do something else with the property in the future?
I think we were playing around with how to get down to the lower level, but right now we don't have a plan for that.
We're only gonna put 2 streetlights on the new section of the,
That will ultimately be up to Wallingford Electric, how many streetlights get put in. We have been actually with the town engineer looking at different light post heads, but until we coordinate with them, there may be 3, but yeah.
is it necessary?
There is a town street policy as apropos to streetlights on streets, and the application meets those requirements.
Right. So we were looking at lower pole heights, so there may be more, but if they put in, if the Wallingford Electric wants in the taller ones, which I think you guys have all.
We don't have a regulation as to what the streetlights actually look like. And we're sort of talking amongst ourselves to try to find something that's gonna look nice.
So I'm confused. It's a policy, right? Not a regulation? The requirement for streetlights on this dead-end cul-de-sac?
Correct, but it's one every 300 feet.
Something like that, yeah.
Then I would say why we even need it. Most cul-de-sacs don't really have streetlights, but I'm just asking the question.
Well, I mean, we're wrestling with that as well.
Okay.
It's not quite clear whether it's needed or not. We did do the subdivision up Chance's farm where maybe we didn't do as many lights as the neighborhood really liked. So it's a matter of really looking at the site plan and seeing what should be required based on the layout of the streets and the houses and everything else.
And there is 4 houses already there, so maybe they don't want to see a streetlight or the future residents?
I think the two proposed lights is probably adequate.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, we were looking at lights similar to that subdivision I was talking about, where they were a little bit lower poles, a little more decorative looking.
Right. So the new addition only is the section that's getting trees, the rest of the other properties don't have trees now, or won't get trees, or they're barren, or? Because it's like almost 3 or 4 trees per lot, the new section. So you come down with no trees and then a bunch of trees for the new houses.
Yeah, so those first 4 lots are already built and sold.
Okay.
So I guess it's really comes down to if the town's gonna kind of push that, then we'd have to go back and let them know that trees have to get put in.
Okay. The other comment I have, Jim, is the houses are set up on either side of the street, 4 and 4 more or less, and the property, according to the plan, goes down gradient 2% more or less. So each and every septic tank going down the hill is one to the other.
That's correct.
Some in the front of the house, some in the back of the house. Are any concern for leaching in this type of soil down into the next property?
Not at all. Soil's been pretty sandy, and we've met all the separating distances that the health code requires regarding property lines and wells and things.
Okay, so each and every future property will also be graded, right? So
Yeah, and that's just a potential grading. Obviously,
Okay.
when we develop each lot and the final house design is chosen, you know, we don't know what people want to build yet, right? So once we see what the house is, then there will be some fine tuning and grading. So it's just kind of a general, this is what it could be, but it'll be something similar.
Right, I'm just concerned that it's downgrading, so the guy at the top of the hill is gonna get, the guy at the bottom of the hill is gonna get the guy at the top of the hill's water coming down his backyard.
Right.
Right, so. you need
Again,
to-
when we do the final grading, we'll work that out. We did anticipate eventually getting that water in that detention basin, so if we need to change the grading a little bit to get it out to the road drainage, then that's what we'll do.
Just from the preliminary, it looks like all the houses are about 2 feet off the street, higher than the street, so it looks like you're grading to the street.
Right,
So maybe it's a non-issue, but I wanted to bring it up to you.
sure.
The last comment I have is the open space, Jim.
Yes.
It's underneath the right-of-way of the Connecticut power lines. Okay. The open space is under the power lines?
No,
Right away?
no, it's not under the power line.
Part of it is.
Part of it is.
But the reason that location was chosen is because it butts up against other town property. So that's why we did it all the way down at the bottom. So that
Okay.
basically it extends that town property over there.
And most of that land is a cornfield, hayfield, or how?
Right now, well, it's been corn for most years, right?
Variety of different things. Last year.
And who would be the beneficiary of the open land?
I guess ultimately that's up to you folks. I mean, it would either be land trust or maybe just annexed onto the town property that's there.
That needs to be cleaned up. You need to tell us what you want to do with the open land. Whether you're going to have the owners of the subdivision own it, or give it to the town, or give it to the land trust, or you need to be specific about how you're dealing with that conveyance.
Yeah, my understanding is unless they do payment in lieu of open space, that the town ends up owning the property.
Well, the town-
Under what entity, I'm not sure, but.
The town doesn't always want it. The town doesn't always want it, you know.
I think he said payment too. I think that's what you just said, right? If the town opted for payment.
That has been done before on other properties, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be an attractive property for the town because it does abut
Right.
land that we own, but you need to have that negotiation and conversation
The town manager.
now.
Yeah. To your point, I believe that the payment in lieu of open space was in situations where creating a small pocket of open space that's not adjacent to anything else. I think that's why that's in there, so that there's another option.
Not necessarily, Jim. To Dave's point, the town's getting to the point where if the open space isn't connected to something, it does us no good to have an isolated piece of property in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
Regardless of its size.
Right.
So we're making a change in the right direction to make it more convenient for the town and the residents to utilize if it's all connected somewhere somehow.
Agreed, and that's why when we saw that the town owns the property next door, I thought that made sense, but.
We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Members have any more comments, questions?
Not at this time.
Dave, do you have any comments, questions that you'd like to add?
Street signs, do we have street signs on the plan?
We have the stop sign, we don't, but we can add the.
Stefani's?
Yeah. We labeled it on the plan, but
Okay.
the street sign itself will have to show that.
Are there going to be any covenants associated with the development in terms of type of houses, hanging out laundry?
That's a good question, but we haven't really decided yet.
Really,
There are a
restrictions.
few that I'd like to implement.
Okay, so we'll need to know what those are.
Sure. I mean, we do have a note on there that no more than 40%. It's supposed to be similar. that kind of
Right, well, we'd like to see, I'd like to see what the other covenants are. Has there been some concept of solar access to these lots and development that allows them to have a solar exposure?
Passive solar techniques have been considered, but until we know the final design of the house, we can't really say for sure. That'll have to be per lot.
But the houses have been located such that they could,
They could take advantage of the southern side, yes.
thank you. We will need bonds for the road itself, then the road will have to be accepted once it's built by the town council. We'll need S&E bonds. The site is not in an area of high potential for archaeological sensitivity based on my reading of the archaeological map. I think that was addressed in the 2006 subdivision as well. We have a couple of waivers. You want to talk about waivers?
We were asking for a waiver of the sidewalks. That doesn't, or any sidewalks anywhere on that road. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, and trying to keep down on the amount of hardscape. But that's ultimately up to you folks.
Okay.
And there's a waiver request of concrete curbs to do.
So yeah, there are bit curbs on the part of the road that's been built already, and that was at the direction of the town engineer at the time. So we're hoping to continue that to the end. In fact, the current town engineer said that the public works would prefer bituminous curbs. So,
And we have the ability to waive that, so.
Gotcha.
So I think that's it for me.
Just one more question. Is a pre-approval needed for the road? Because if the town doesn't accept the road or says, we're not accepting any new roads, that renders this mute.
no, I think at that point it stays a private road.
Correct.
Who makes the determination on?
The town council can always reject the application to accept the town road.
Fair enough.
Yeah, wouldn't this be an awful lot of houses on a private road, or would have to become an association of some kind?
All right, it would have to be some kind of mechanism like that.
Okay.
I'm done. Again.
You sure? All right. One more time, commission members have any other comments? Ron, you good? With that being said, thank you, Jim. I'll
Thank you.
open up the public comment. So I'd like to start off with two groups, one in support of and one in opposition to. So I'm going to open up the first public comment to those who are in support of the project. Come up, state your name and address for the record. Anybody in support of the project? Support of the project. Hearing none, I'm going to ask the public, those in opposition, to come up and state your name.
The point of the point.
Oh, in support of?
I just have a question for you. If we are in support of, does that mean in support of everything that you said?
It all depends. You could go 50%. I'm at the end of those in favor of and those of opposition to. So if you have both, come up right now. So it's up to you if you like to do that or just wait for somebody else. It's okay. It seems like most
I'll think
people
about it,
are.
I'll think about it.
Take your
I'm a little
time.
pregnant right now.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll start off with those in opposition to the application. Please come up and state your name and address for the record. Opposition to the project?
Hi, my name is Pat Zakicki. I live on 190 Parsonage Hill Road. And I just have some concerns, obviously about traffic, well situations and all that. But my main concern is that my property abuts to Lot 12 of this development. And when I bought my property in 1981, there was a natural swale going through the rear of my property. And I was told that I needed to keep that and make sure it didn't fill with debris. So since the building of the previous 4 houses, what used to be a small, maybe 3-foot wide swale going through my yard has now become a 5-foot wide and 6-foot deep in some areas. I do have some pictures of it, and I do have the drawing of the map showing where the swale goes through my property. And so my concern is water management. So if I can give this to you. So this is my property, and that's where the swale goes now. And these are just some pictures I took. And that's how large it's gotten.
Sure.
This is the actual entrance from that lot 12, and this is how large it's gotten, so. So, actually, when they built my neighbor's house, there was supposed to be a berm installed, and they never did it. And it washed out my property right near my house until I came down to the town and said, you know, they never built the berm, and this whole property was washing out into my property. This was my old neighbor, Bob and Martha Capella are my new neighbors who own the house now, but that berm was never put in place at the time. So I just want to be sure that I'm assuming that because it's not farmed anymore, that, you know, the vegetation made it worse. But I just want to make you aware of that. I don't want it any worse than what it is right now.
Okay.
I mean, it's when it rains heavy, I mean, it's flowing and it's this deep.
And it's very difficult to keep it clean too. He has to use the backhoe to clean it out. And if we don't, it backs up and then the water spreads really far.
And who are you, ma'am?
I'm his wife, Honey, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I just wanted to put that in. I mean, I even have a video of it shooting through, and this is recent. It comes all the time, you know, a couple times a year. So it's not like just for a major rain, it's, you know, anything fairly heavy. But, and then when the one neighbor's house was built, our well went bad. It was full of debris and muddy and everything for quite a long time until it cleared up. It took almost 3
3 months or so.
Yeah, it was quite a while, so we did have disturbance in our well, too,
Okay.
with, so I just wanted to add that, sorry.
No, that's okay. Anything else?
No, I think if you address the water management, I'd be very happy.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Sir, on your document, I did note that on the map that we have, it's not confirmed, but it would be 9 Stefania's Way. I documented it on your sheet that you just gave us.
I'm sorry.
The address, the potential address would be 9 Stefania's Way. If the town approved the street name and what they are estimating the address to be, it'd be 9 Stefania Way, but Latchville.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No.
Anybody else in opposition to?
Hi, my name is John Bonadies. I live with my wife Marjorie on 122 Parsonage Hill. We're the last of the 4 houses that were built in the area in this development. I'm not rising to speak in opposition of the project, but I have concerns as well. And I'm just trying to go through a few of them. The first one is that it does relate to surface water. And in our house was the last one built. The adjoining property, after the grading and everything was supposed to be right, would just wash down into our yard, up against our house, into our basement. Carried a lot of sand. It's a very sandy property, which is usually good for drainage and septic and things. But on the surface, it was a real problem. So I would just caution, because as you were saying, Mr. Nowak, about one stepping down to the other, and ours is not a big drop down, but it would just come over the bank. We had to put in a berm out of our own expenses to prevent it, so it does swale now out to the road. But without that, any potential driveway, the gravel, the sand, everything gets washed out, sanded out, and it was going against the house until we had the berm put in and a retaining wall. So a lot of money out of pocket. I would just caution for that. Second, there's a lot of ledge rock on our property and adjacent property. And to me, that always begs the question, okay, how much blasting or is the siting of the property is going to be around these spots of ledge rock? And if there is going to be blasting, what assurances or do we have as current homeowners that we're not going to have problems with those blastings to our foundations and things? So I just asked that question. There is a moderate amount of ledge rock adjacent to our property and in the back of our property. Those are the 2 main things. But water table issue, I don't know how these water engineers that can give assurances that everybody's well is going to be great, because we were given the same assurances and we just have enough for our house. And ours is a relatively, smaller house, but they went down to the usual distance, and we have enough, but you can't water your lawn, or you can't, you gotta. So I would just be cautious about accepting what one person says about how good the water table is in that area, especially with a ledge rock and the drops in the elevations. The last thing I would say is just snow removal. I mean, as a private road right now, it didn't get plowed at all by the current developer. I plowed the road for my neighbor and ourselves just so we could get out. I don't know the timetable that this project is going to take, if it goes over, especially if it goes over more than one winter, and it's still a private road, how many people are going to be, and the road does go down, like what's going to be the snow removal plan, because there was none this year. And luckily we weren't hit too hard with snow, but there was. So those are the things that I raised. We knew that there were going to be more houses built when we bought our home, our property, but I just, having lived there now for a few years, just raised these concerns about how the projects went and what we potentially could see going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Anyone else like to speak against the project or has concerns? Sure.
The microphones are always too hot every time I'm on. All right. So there are a couple,
Name, address?
of course. Melina Proto, and I live 124 Parsonage Hill Road, so same as John, I am in that new development area already. So we are in support of having the other homes being built. That was something that we already knew about. But I did want to just put in a couple things just to say we would prefer sidewalks because I have a young child and another one on the way. And I have to say the road is already very narrow. So we would like somewhere to be able to walk with the kids safely. And then also no blasting. And my husband also is in agreement of no homeowners association.
Okay.
So it would need to be ideally a town road if you'd approve it. And then also, if there are going to be trees that are going to be built on the other properties, ideally we would like trees as well put in on our property.
Okay.
And the other ones, I'm sure they would like them. And that's it.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Would you like to come up and state your name and address for the record, please?
George Caldwell, 125 Parsonage Hill Road. Been up here 55 years. Seen a lot of action up here. And right now, are they looking for 2 or 10 lots? I didn't hear. I'm a little hard of hearing, so.
10.
They're looking for 10?
9.
There should be a flyer around
9 new
with
lots.
a plot plan so the neighbors and stuff could see where it is
Do you want
and what's going on and where the houses are gonna be. There's nothing showing us. To me, that's a blank sheet. You see it. We don't know where it's gonna go. Years ago, East Shore came in, he took a lot of perk tests and stuff for a contractor. He backed out because he kept losing them. There's a lot of rock over there. In the wintertime, low spots used to freeze over. My kids used to go ice skating over there. Everything else. What I'm really concerned about is the water. My water has dropped quite a lot. I'm down low, and if they put all these houses in and we lose houses, who's gonna pay to come in and drill my well? The town, or is the contractor gonna pay to drill my well deeper so I can get water? It's not fair to the people that have been up there, living up there for years and years. My neighbors, good neighborhood. The water is a main concern. And we start losing water, then where do we stand? The second of all is traffic. Traffic is getting worse because it's a cutover between 22 on this side and crossing over Village Street into 22 on the other. You can stand out there every 5 minutes. There's cars going back and forth, and they're not just slowing down. They're flying. And if people know it's a hilly, curvy road. On the south side, there's a big curve that curves around. The school buses and the cars that come by there have to pull off to the side of the road just to squeeze by. Someday there's going to be a bad accident there because people coming down the hill, they already crashed into the guardrail once. They didn't go over the bank, luckily. But the traffic's the other thing. But the main concern for me is going to be the water, and you say 10 houses. So I got a letter here from Chris Golda saying it was going to be just 2. Okay? Right here. You want to see the letter? I'll show it to you. He said it was going to be 2 lots that they were going to go for. So what's going to happen? He's going to put 2 in. A year from now he comes back. I want to put another 2 in, or I want to put another 2 in, and I want to keep going. The land doesn't constitute all these houses down there. On the backside, there's all kinds of rock ledges, and it's steep. It goes down. I don't know how they're going to take care of that. We haven't seen a plot plan. We don't know where the houses are going to go. So I'd like to see something that shows us if we can look at this after, or usually they have flyers that go out and they tell you what everybody that was up there that went in before had flyers that showed where the houses were gonna be. Viglotti came in one time, he wanted to put 35 houses in there, but he wanted the town to put in a pump station down below where they used to put the leaves off of Middletown Avenue, and then run out to Middletown Avenue and pick up the sewers and the water there. Didn't work out. He backed out. He said, no, it's just too much trouble. I don't know what the town did, and what they said, but that's where we are. But I'd like to see a plot plan, show my neighbors what's going on here, and see what's going to happen. You know, because 10 lots, that's a lot of lots. And what happens with the road? That's a private road right now. The neighbors are taking care of it very well, but if he puts more houses in there, it's not up to them to take care of the roads and stuff. You know, he's been good enough to plow the street. I take my hat off to him. You know, he's trying to make, we're neighbors up there. Everybody gets along. And to have this situation happen and have problems, he cut across, give you, for instance, he cut across Parsons Hill to put catch basins in. Came back, he put a patch in. Every time the UPS trucks come down, or FedEx, or any kind of trucks, trailers, bam, 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 did a crappy job of patching it up. They came up, they blocked it out in white. This was a couple of weeks ago. Nothing's been done, so I don't know what the story is there. You know, it hasn't taken off the silt fences on the silt material on the catch basins. It's still on there. It's been on there for 2 years. It's just, if I could see a plot plan and we could show the neighbors, then maybe they get an idea where these houses are going to go or whatever. For 10, I'm dead set against 10. Dead set against 10. Right now we got the houses are there, the neighbors are good. Take care of them. They take care of the houses very nice. It's fine. But who knows what's going to happen if you put 10 in there and what's going to happen. All right, thank you.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak against the proposal?
Good job. Proud of you.
Dan Broderick, 40 Parsons Hill. I'm not necessarily speaking against it, but I'm just not sure why we're using a traffic study. It's almost 20 years old, because I assure you, if you did one now, it wouldn't be the same. That's all I got.
Fair enough, Ken.
He's concerned about the traffic studies.
Would anybody else like to speak against it?
The traffic studies, it's 18 years old, right? This is the last one, 2006.
Jean Swabowski of 88 Parsonage Hill Road. I'm just concerned about the wells. For 100 Parsonage Hill Road, 88 and 84. We've lived there all our lives, and I've seen the water table go down. So my most concerned about is, if we have a problem, is the town going to pay to re-drill the wells, or is the builder going to pay to re-drill the wells? And that's all I'm concerned about. Thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Would anybody else like to speak against the project? Anyone else?
My name is Luke Izzo. I'm 172 Parsonage Hill Road. Ladies and gentlemen of the Planning and Zoning Commission, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here to express my deep concern about the additional development in our town, particularly the impact on our cherished farmland and the small town atmosphere we all value. Our town has long been known for its beautiful farmland, which not only provides scenic views, but also embodies the rural character and agricultural heritage that define our community. However, each year we see more of this valuable land being replaced by houses that frankly do not blend with the aesthetic and historical character of our town. Behind my own home, which would be where all the 10 new lots would be, there used to be a peaceful field where I used to play in the field with my brothers, and the 4 houses that all right. This has not only altered the landscape, but has also brought an increase in noise. I can hear it at night. There's some weird noises during the day, like some screeching sounds. I don't know which house it's coming from, but the proposal to build 10 more houses will only exacerbate these issues. In addition to the noise and visual impact, there are practical concerns as well. More houses mean more wells too, which will put a strain on our aquifer. I'm not sure if you've seen how much land that each lot has, but it's a lot of grass there, and I think a few of the houses have a sprinkler system already installed, which is going to only waste more precious water, as well as the increased traffic from these developments. It will turn Parkinsonville Road into another busy road like Village Street or Tuckett Road, which will change the quiet and safe streets we are accustomed to. And now is the time to uphold what our town stands for, a farming community with a small town feel. I urge you to consider the long-term consequences of these developments. Let's protect our farmland, preserve our town's unique character, and ensure that future generations can enjoy the same peaceful, rural environment that brought us all here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak against the project? Anyone else? What I'd like to do is call a 10-minute recess and give the people in the audience a chance to look at the plans. We'll lay 2 sets out on the table before we close the public hearing and hear from a response from the applicant. So if that's all right with everybody. I have a 10-minute recess for all you folks can look at the plans. We'll put 1 in each table so you guys can look at them.
Here, I got one.
Just click highlight it, mouse over it, highlight it, and then change the date. Thursday's date will be the 18th, so just mouse over to the middle. So you got 01, 18, enter, and just hit close. You do not have to save and duplicate it. Now you can just leave this graphic up if you'd like, but if I don't know if the lower third is getting in the way for some reason, just come over to this button here, the downstream keyer. Click that on or off, or this one as well. The difference between these 2 buttons are this just will take it on and off. Click, or this one will dissolve it on or off. So that's the left button, downstream keyer. Here's the right one, dissolving it up. Over here, you're going to record right to the TriCaster. Oops, I don't want to do that. Click on this little wheel, and you're going to enter the name that you'd like to call this, which would probably be PZ. And I usually go underscore and then the date 01/18/24. You can do 2024 as you like and just hit close and that should still appear. Okay, I suppose next we should load a DVD into the DVD player. Here's the remote. And there's two that look exactly alike, but if you notice there's a couple of arrows here I made with a Sharpie because later on you're going to have to finalize the disc, and that's why this one. So you come up here. So there's some blank discs right here. I grabbed one, just insert it into the disc player and close that. And when it's time for the show to start, you can either hit record here or record on the remote here. Also here you can control the camera, zooming in right here.
eating all the chicken. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay, well, we'll continue our public hearing now. Okay. I hope that was satisfactory to the audience as far as get a better feel for what you're looking for, what's coming your way. Any, again, one more time, anybody else in opposition to the project? Please come up and state your name and address.
My name is Martha Capella. I live at 178 Parsonage Hill Road. I'm here tonight to also share my concern about the well water situation that my neighbors have already brought to your attention. A couple of suggestions I'd like to say. If they are going to go ahead with this approval, I'd like to see that the builder be required to put aside a sum of money, a lump sum of money that neighbors with adjacent properties who potentially are facing a future well issue would be paid for. Any repairs, any new wells needing to be dug out of that trust money established to be determined by maybe someone who is going to be appointed to handle that. I'd like to see, what else did we just say? Oh, the fact also, I have the letter here that another neighbor cited saying that they were only doing 2 single-family lots. I feel that if this letter had accurately portrayed what it was supposed to, you would have had a greater outpouring of our neighbors to come. I vote that there is not a vote tonight, that they are required to send out this legal notice of what they're proposing to do and give more neighbors the opportunity to come forward and hear what's being said tonight. The well water is a huge concern. I vote to withhold not putting a final decision in tonight, and the engineering company has to re-notify the neighbors. That's my
Thank you, Martha. Anyone else like to speak in opposition to? Opposition to? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Do you want to leave the
I'm sorry.
public hearing?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Leave it open.
Leave it open,
Leave it
you
open.
could get more information
Okay.
relative to some of the concerns. Perhaps the engineer can come back and give us more information about the well water.
I apologize, Dave, you're right.
The,
I didn't give Jim an opportunity to have any more answer to any of the concerns from the public. If you'd like to, Jim, you're more than welcome to come up and have an opportunity to say something.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say a couple words, if you wouldn't mind. For the record, my name is Joe Charliglio. I am the owner of Luancy Construction, and I am the gentleman that is trying to subdivide and develop the property. I heard a few concerns here tonight, and I'm hoping that I could put some people's minds at ease as to what's going on. The first thing that I heard is about a private road. We proposed this subdivision, as Jim mentioned, was approved back in 2006, and the person that got it approved, he defaulted and was not able to present the Mylars, post the bond, so the subdivision, it failed. So here we are, we're pretty much just trying to represent the same subdivision, similar subdivision that was pre-approved years ago. So what I did is, we were able to be granted the 4 lots. So the whole thing of the road that was installed, there are 2 individual driveways. So knowing that we were going to come forward and try to continue the road and develop the road, we chose to, with the previous town engineer, we agreed that we would build these 2 driveways to a town road standard, so that the people that purchased the homes would not be disturbed at this point. Here we are, we'd have to end up tearing their driveways apart and have them in a total mess. So we took one step forward and we prepared the road as the town engineer required us to do as a town standard road. So that's what we did. So as far as snow removal, as far as any type of private road, it is not a private road. They are two individual driveways that they have to take care of their own snow removal at this point. Until we developed it further, it was their responsibility to maintain their driveways for snow removal and all, and that was made very clear. So that's one thing that I'd like to just make very clear. I'm hearing a lot about the wells, and I've been doing this for over 30-something years, and I've been doing septics, wells. The size of the lots that we have here are very considerable sized lots, and all, you know, a distance away from all the people that have concerns here. Again, based on the standards and the East Shore Health District standards, we are way within the limits of tapping wells. We have, I did the 4 homes there, and we ended up yielding 8 to 10 gallons per minute on 3 of the houses. There was one house that Mr. Bonadis explained, at 350 feet, I hit 4.5 gallons, which is sufficient amount of water. We only have to give them 3 gallons a minute. And I presented to him whether or not he wanted to go further for his irrigation system, and he chose not to. But I ensured him the right amount of water that he needed for the house. So they chose not to do it for any irrigation. So if they wanted to do an irrigation system, we were willing to tap further. Obviously, it would be an additional cost to them, so they chose not to do it. As far as drainage, someone was speaking about lot number 12. And lot number 12, which is proposed, is way at the bottom. I don't think we've done any type of construction at this point that even impacted any type of drainage. I don't recall. That's your house. We didn't do any type of construction here whatsoever.
I think the vegetation of it not being farmed.
It has been farmed, and it is being farmed. They didn't plow it this year, but it's being farmed. But as far as any type of
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But
We're not saying you did anything.
You're right.
We're saying it's a problem. It's been a problem for 40 years.
Right.
And it's a problem that every year is getting worse and worse, that the runoff is so bad that
Sure.
it's now made this little routine, this little,
Excuse me,
Oh.
you just have to address us, you can't address
Yeah.
us.
I'm sorry. So if that is a concern, and at the time when we are working there and whatever, I'm sure that whatever it's going to take to ensure that no water is going into their property, that's kind of normal practice for us. So I don't foresee that as being an issue. So if there's issue about the traffic, I hear a lot about the traffic. I mean, I added four homes on pretty much a private road. We'll call it a private road, but the traffic that goes through that road is not for those houses. I mean, you know, the town has developed over the course of years. People are traveling from Branford. They're coming into, Northford has become a very upcoming town at this point, and there are people that keep coming in and out of this town. Now, if there are concerns down at the other end of Parsonage Hill Road, then I think it's more the town that needs to make a decision whether they need to improve that windy road or not. But it's not the fault of the existing homes that were presented or the possible 9 homes that we're going to build that has increased this traffic volume over Parsonage Hill Road. Granted, there's people coming home and there is some additional traffic coming in there, but it's not the traffic that I'm hearing that people are driving through in 100 miles an hour. So I can't stop that, whether it's if we don't build the homes or if the homes are built. I don't think that that's going to have an impact on that. If there's any other question that maybe I could answer at this point, I'd like to, clarify that. And also, as far as I understood there were some questions about what would be done with the road. The continuation of the road that we will be adding, we're going to take the existing portion that was already pre-built and treat that as if it's one whole brand new road. So the tree plantings will be there. We were instructed to install the bituminous asphalt curbing at the time, and that's going to, and I'm hoping to continue that as well. So whatever we do, everything is going to look like one uniform road, a brand new road. So to eliminate any doubt, and it is not a private road. There are 2 individual driveways for the time being until we create a town road.
So John, you clarified the fact that it's one road, but really two driveways, right?
Correct.
Okay. So the approval was town standards, but conceivably, it was two driveways.
Correct. The approval was approved with two driveways. After it was approved, I met with the town engineer, and rather than imposing a burden on the buyers of the homes at today's time where we're hoping to develop it, I chose to build it to the town standards so that we wouldn't be interrupting their life at this point here.
Okay. So it's built as deemed a driveway, but built for a road.
That's correct. It's built to town standards, so at this point, wherever we continue from, this portion is already prepared as a town road. So when I hear that it's a private road and an association, that wasn't the option that we were looking to go down to. Is we were looking more to have this as a town road, and that's the way we presented it and proposed it, and hoping to continue it.
Right.
Because if we were doing a private road, we did even the lot layout according to town standards. If not, if we're trying to build a private road, I would try to get more lots out of it, but I won't, based on what we're trying to build here.
Right. Okay. We'll definitely take into consideration the fact that it was 2006 approval, but that was 18 years ago.
Sure, I understand.
So the players have all changed.
Sure, I understand.
Right? Standards have changed.
I understand.
Right? Okay.
I just hope that I could, eliminate some doubt in people's minds here. That's all, just to clarify a few things.
I appreciate it, John.
Thank you.
Jim Preddy again. It sounds like this is getting continued. But I would just like to add to Joe's comment about the drainage. Typical lot development, we would, make sure that we're not creating a problem for any neighbors. I don't think that the neighbor from lot 12, I don't think the problem was coming from this side anyhow. But to the point about it being a farm versus being now single-family lots, if you've ever looked at any of the drainage analysis that comes through here, the runoff coefficients for farmed land is actually much higher than a single-family lot where a lot of it's lawn and landscaping and things like that. So theoretically, we would be actually reducing, or at the very least slowing down the runoff on the developed portions of the property. And then the added benefit of having the front yard slope to the road and collecting it and running it through a detention basin, I think all that can only help, not hurt, the surrounding situation.
Thank you, Jim.
There was, during the break, David came over to me, and apparently there was a typo in the letter, inadvertent. We had always planned on 10 lots. The legal notice went out as 10 lots in the paper. But if we need to re-notify before the next meeting, then we'll do that. Thank you.
So with that being said, anything else, Steve, for this particular topic? We're going to continue this public hearing until the next meeting, which is July 11th?
15th?
15th?
That's 12? Yeah, 11.
July 11th.
I have questions. Do we continue the public hearing, then we can still talk, or we talk during the public hearing?
We're going to continue the public hearing until next meeting, so we're going to stop the public hearing now and then move it forward to the next meeting.
So we can allow for more public
can have-
input, and we can allow for the developers to come back and talk about well water issues, which I think they might want to address, since that seems to be a hot topic.
Well, then maybe can I say a couple things in case it's something they need to address between now and then?
Absolutely.
And just some also clarification and understanding on my part. So just to make sure because we keep referencing 2006. So the size of the road, town road standards, those are 2006 standards. They're 20 years later standards. It's the same standards. I'm just getting confused.
This is
It's
current.
current standard. So
Yes.
this right here is current.
Right, 50 feet.
Okay, and we're referencing, though, 20 years ago, a traffic study and the well water study.
there's a recent letter. Jim, do you have that letter?
Because we can't, I'm confused at what we're referencing currently and what we're referencing from.
The traffic study is the only thing we're referencing from the previous approval.
What's the well water study from
We
now?
referenced the previous traffic study because it's the same number of lots.
Oh, okay. What's the,
We've reached out to the well.
oh, all right. From our past experience to our best knowledge, subdivision, seems to affect each other. So how do we, and then forgive everybody on the commission, I'm a psychologist by trade, I'm not any of this by trade. How do we, I said.
Can I see that?
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad. So in other, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron or Dave, in other subdivisions or other, I feel like there was, information came from somebody or East Shore Health that like the well, like I know when they did the farm brewery, the well can hold and support all of this. Like, was that done? Who does that? Like, is that sufficient, that letter that, oh yes, of course the wells can support the development and laundry and so I'm just, the data doesn't seem robust enough to me to support, or it's just the data right now doesn't seem robust enough for the well. And I feel like if there was more data, that might help. And I just don't know who that comes from. Is it the applicant saying, yes, of course there's enough?
Well,
Is there a well study?
I defer to the engineer applicant to address that, or we can get town staff to look at it. I'm not sure we have the expertise without actually drilling into the ground and finding out what's down there.
Like when they did the farm brewery, he came with data that from so-and-so, the well here can support blah, 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 blah. Who?
Right, so the data, as Jim or Joe was referring to is that when they drill the well, at the time that the well is drilled, the driller gives you a report of how much water actually infiltrates into the hole at a certain gallons per minute.
Okay.
But then it fills up a certain amount in the shaft of the well, and that dictates how much water you can have pumped into your house. I think he said it was 3 gallons per minute was the requirement. So at some point in time, depending on the weather, depending on how much rainwater, that well may not be deep enough. Bonadisa is 350 feet, that's really deep, right? And you only had a little minimum of 4 gallons per minute. So that's at the time that it's drilled is when the data comes out.
Oh, okay.
So as far as going back and figuring out how deep the local wells are and all that, that's way beyond our preview.
Okay, that helps me because I just was confused.
But correct me if I'm wrong, that would be a regulation from East Shore. If you have a family, if you have a house that has 4 bedrooms and 3 baths, they have a calculation, you're gonna do laundry, 2 people in the shower,
Right.
and you want a glass of water. I mean, you have to have X amount, and it's their standards from East Shore of how much water. You can put a well in and get a half of gallon an hour. That's not the standard. That's not good.
Okay.
So to answer the question, I don't think we have that expertise on the panel to have any, whether well's good or not, or how deep it is. That's up to the driller and the performance of East Shore Health.
Okay,
The
that's
experts.
helpful, because I just got confused with the farm brewery and there was data that came before that it could be supported. Okay.
Good question.
Could they get
Come up to the
information?
microphone.
Would it be possible for them to get a report done by a water engineer or a hydraulic engineer or somebody who specializes in that, specific to the number of houses that are being proposed and these standards that you're now applying?
I'm not applying the standards other than.
Well, that you guys are talking about this many gallons per, this many people taking a shower, this much laundry being done. That's being looked at as an individual household. We're talking about several households.
I don't expect the wells to be put in now.
No, I know, but I'm just saying.
If they build a house and they put a well in and they don't get water, they don't get a CO, so they just build an empty shell that you can't move into.
Right, but you're
So-
talking about a singular situation there versus a development of several houses.
No, but it would be each of those houses.
Okay, well, just saying a report from a hydraulic engineer or water engineer would probably be very helpful.
Does that help?
It does, because like I said, I try to use my knowledge from my experience here to, because I feel like other times there's been data, and here it doesn't seem that data's not there, but it's not supposed to be there yet.
Right.
Well, my 2 cents is I'd like, if we're going to table it for this meeting to our next one, I'd like to see if it's possible to address Pat's problem with the erosion, or at least a draft idea. And the other thing is, seeing how the school buses would stop on Parsonage Hill, I'd like to see sidewalks to Parsonage Hill for young families, children, because a bus will not come down a dead-end street, a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Do we have an answer about blasting, or wait for?
That was going to be my point. John had some concern about blasting. I know there's a big rock mill next to 122 Parsonage, and being an ex-DOT employee working in construction for 35 years, one of the mitigating factors to make sure that foundations don't get impacted from blasting was a pre-blast survey and seismic monitoring of the foundation around it. So you guys, the builder is protected and the homeowners are protected from any cracks, meaning a pre-existing survey, in my knowledge, they've come around and looked at inside and outside your foundation, no cracks. The blast occurred, it's finished. In the whole neighborhood, there's no more blasts or cracks. And he monitors the whole situation to protect the homeowners since they're pretty close, within close proximity. It's not like Tilcon Mountain, a couple hundred miles away, 2 miles away, your blast right adjacent to houses concurrently all the way down, depending on where you are on the property. So there is a way to mitigate that, just to let you know. Did that help?
Yeah, super, yeah. And one more point, is it possible to get a analysis and statement from the fire marshal that there is enough water, or the water tank could handle? I'm not comfortable.
I have been pushing him for an answer, and I will continue to do that.
Okay, you have it. Just like, wait, he's supposed to answer the concerns, not tell us what his concerns
Yeah, I said you can't ask a question when I ask him a question. He can't ask me a question.
Right, so Trish, in my cul-de-sac neighborhood, they buried a 1,000-gallon tank
Oh, okay.
and mitigated the.
Do you have a
tank issue.
cistern by your house?
Top of the street, we do. But I thought that they went away because the fire company has a big tanker truck, but that's just my opinion, I don't know for a
Right, I
fact.
thought they
got rid of that.
They got rid of the underground cisterns because there was a fire on Auburn Road Extension, and they went to the cistern, and the bottom rotted out.
They have to check them, yeah.
Okay, so yes, we're speaking the same language. Just like,
Anything else from the commissioners? The public hearing is still open, so one more shot. If you'd like to say something while it's still open, we're going to have it continued to next meeting anyway, so.
yeah.
Anybody else have anything else? Okay. With that being said, then we'll move forward and continue this meeting until July 11th. So thank you for coming.
Oh, wait, do we have to make a motion to continue?
What?
Do we have to make a motion to continue the public hearing?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
Okay, give them a minute.
So let's,
No, we have more.
So continued old business, item number 5.
Is that your house?
Excuse me, folks, we're still having a meeting, so we can take it outside. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. New business, item number 6, a request for a new street number for residential lot split from 150 Mill Road to a new lot to be known as 85 Caputo Road, map 30, lot 5.
So maybe this is something we can actually change again in the zoning regulations, so you guys don't have to like number houses, like you could just let the assessor choose to do it. Because the zoning regulations say that the commission has to determine the street numbers. Do you really want to do that?
I thought you were the guy who makes the numbers up anyway.
Well, I do, and then I tell you and you
But
approve
yes, that's
it,
for
and it's
permission?
like,
It just helps, us legitimize the big bucks we get paid.
We did get a raise too.
I know, it's inflation, cost of living raise.
so Barry, you can make a motion to,
Yeah. All right. I make a motion to approve the street number request for residential lot split from 153 Mill Road to the new lot to be known as 85 Caputo Road, map 30, lot 5.
We have a second?
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Trish, to change new lot, Caputo Road, to 85 Caputo Road. Any discussion?
How do you choose the number? You just try to like somehow line it up?
I let Lynn do it.
He looks at Google Maps.
Lynn's in charge of numbering. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
It's hysterical.
He's got 6 dice and he throws them in.
Just pick
Okay,
that.
so last thing, no discussion?
discussion, no
Okay,
discussion.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. 85 Caputo Road is now official. Okay. Next item on the agenda is other business zoning regulation updates.
So, had all sorts of handouts up there. Did you guys spread those around at all?
Yeah, I'm organized.
So I updated the table of uses again. You might want to look at it because I've like cleaned it up and made it much less, there are a whole bunch of blank spots in it where I took things out. I added sale of alcoholic beverages, cafe permit, tavern permit, which we didn't really have anything about alcohol in the table of uses. I would just say review it because I think it's a whole lot cleaner now.
Okay.
I also changed a bunch of the sort of uses.
So Dave, is this a summary of the changes? Or
No,
additions?
that's a different issue and let's address that now.
Okay.
This list,
We're looking at code, I think,
It's like the second page after
Yeah.
this one?
let's see, recycling center, so,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think the easiest thing is to look at the I-2 and the I-3 zone. And this is things that are allowed in one zone that are not allowed in the other zone.
X means not allowed?
Correct.
And Dave, this is summary?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So anything else is allowed in both zones. These are the only things that are excluded. So the only thing you can do in the I-3 zone that you can't do in the I-2 zone is a hotel and a commercial recreational center.
And I-2, then I-3 was, to the best of our knowledge, created just because it was like, oh, there's a piece of land over here, make that I-3. Is that how we differentiate I-2 from I-3, we think, right?
Well, if you go to the, There's another sheet I gave you all by itself that describes the zones.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
So the I3 zone is only located at Evergreen Woods, and there's some Yale property down by Evergreen Woods, the end of Commerce Drive, the 765 Foxen Road, which is right next to Town Hall, the Regional Water Authority, the Sportsplex, and there's a farm down by the golf station on Foxen Road.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's farm, yeah, technically, but it's industrial.
And Notifier and the Ice Pavilion. So who needs an I3 zone? I mean, why wouldn't we let all these other uses be allowed in the I3 zone?
Yeah.
Especially when you can only have a hotel, motel in the I3 zone.
It would all make sense. It's industrial items, are they not? Truck terminal, you can't put an I3? Why not? Well, it depends on where I3 is.
So that's what, yeah, it's like, it seems like it.
Well, and all the I3 zones are occupied
Yeah.
with something, except for those Yale New Haven properties down by Evergreen Woods.
And they have an office there, and it's saying Yale New Haven should not have, so it's a non-conforming lot. So it makes sense to merge them, right? The I2 and I3.
Yeah.
Because Yale New Haven has that, I think it's an NEMG location on that lot. So might as well merge them, and then it's conforming.
Right.
Kind of the same thing with B1 and B2, right? It's.
Well, the B1 and B2 is a little different because you're talking about Northford Center versus Foxen Road. I mean, I think we can address the B1 and the B2 as we start addressing the village overlay districts, which are going to be pretty much the same footprint.
What you're saying, yeah, we want to protect it as well. I got you. That's why that's different, okay.
So I would propose that we eliminate the I3 zone.
Yeah, merge I2 and I3. And then keep B2. What does a U mean?
What?
Like in B2, U, what does U mean? What does the letter U mean?
The U is a special permit.
Oh, okay. It's like alphabet soup.
And then the next page, I think we talked about that at our last meeting in terms of reducing the minimum lot size in B1, the minimum street frontage for RA, which clearly was wrong, and the setbacks in B1 and B2.
We were going to dramatically reduce both of those.
Yes.
B1 to the 50s, right? In
Yep.
the 20s.
And then,
Yeah, you want the businesses closer to the street?
We want to, yes.
So you can see
Closer
it.
to the street and park behind.
Yeah,
To kind of give that village feel.
yeah. I forget when we talked about that a few years ago.
then the next one in this package was the electronic message boards, to try to make the municipal message boards that we have already legal.
So Trish, before we roll, B1 is an acre lot.
Yeah.
B1 zone, which is ridiculous for a business.
Oh,
to
yeah, it's
take up a
huge.
whole acre, so we're gonna make it half or more than, less than half, right?
Right.
20 to 15,000 square feet, you get more bang for your buck.
You get more businesses,
You
right?
get more business, right? Kind of fit what we have now, I assume, right?
Agree.
So the second.
And these numbers were all produced in 1984.
Yeah, when things were much different. And
Well, yeah, I mean, it was
Changes
like,
aren't
let's make room for lots of cars everywhere. I mean, they really haven't been touched.
are we eliminating the B3 zone?
We're working towards something on that one.
Okay.
And it's only 2 spots, or 3 spots.
Yeah, the B3 zone should go.
Yeah.
There are two lots in the B3 zone. So then we have the electronic message boards, which are pretty simple. It allows the town to have electronic message boards, which we do, but they were never permitted.
Municipal use only?
But
Municipal use only?
municipal only, yeah. And then the next one is a new one,
Uh-oh.
which is chickens.
I saw that.
44.5.4, if you read all the way down to the 4th line from the bottom, it says an aggregate of not more than 20 chickens or other poultry are kept on the lot, and all poultry in any pasture for livestock shall be enclosed by a fence and set back not less than 25 feet from any property or street line. So anybody in town can have 20 roosters on their lot, because a rooster is a chicken.
I thought roosters weren't allowed.
A rooster is a chicken. A hen is a chicken. You can't have more chickens unless you have a rooster and a hen.
Okay, now, this is in your department? You're gonna go around chasing chickens?
I chase chickens daily, yes. And luckily for me, I can frequently say, you know what? If the bird's 25 feet away from your property line,
Yeah.
that's fine. And they are really upset. I mean, it's really a bad regulation. So in Stafford, where I worked before, we had bird units. So you get 12 chickens or poultry per acre. So you get 6 for half an acre. You get 3 for a quarter acre. And you can't have roosters unless you have 4 acres.
Yeah. Roosters are allowed.
Which makes a whole lot more sense than just saying up to 20. I mean, I have people who have 18 chickens in a quarter acre lot.
Wow.
And what do I say? Oh, that's good. 1, 2,
And they come to your property and count
If
the
there's
chickens.
21, I have dinner tonight.
Yeah, I'll eliminate. I'll come back tomorrow. There'll be 1 less.
And here's a dozen eggs. Thank you for your trouble. 1, 2 dozen.
Come for dinner.
So I would like to rewrite that regulation and bring it back to you for your approval.
Thank you.
We went through the signs one, which is pretty much complete, which is pretty much identical to what we have now, except it's more specific. Basically, you can't have light leaking off your property. You can't have more intense light. You have to turn it off between the hours of 11 and 10, 11 and 6 a.m.
So did you want to do this in whole, as is?
What?
Did you want to do it as is, this regulation?
Yeah.
I like the formatting.
Yeah.
it looks nice.
I do like it.
Well, hopefully we'll get the whole zoning regulations to start looking like this.
Yeah, versus just like,
You have a format that looks like I would want to read it.
yes,
Like, hey,
I agree. I was like, ooh, look at this.
not what it looks like, you know.
If the other one looks
Yeah,
overwhelming.
this can't be
Correct.
ours.
We're working on that.
Yes.
So what, I have some issue with it.
Okay?
I don't like telling people when to turn their lights off and when to turn them on. I don't think that should be at their discretion, not us telling them. Right? Because so Dave, it's on 11:30, you gonna go give them a citation for having the lights on 11:30 or midnight?
A warning.
A warning. I'll take eggs instead of, can we like eliminate some of that?
Yeah, I think we have some of it in our current regulations, and I think, you might want to be into like sundown and sun up or something. Is that a better feeling than?
I was just thinking of you trying to enforce something at 1 o'clock in the morning. The lights are still on. I mean,
No, it's easier for me if there's a time.
There's a time.
Then I can say, she took a picture of it and it was 11:35.
What kind of lights are we talking? Because I just think like all the car break-ins, like what, are we talking about like the light on my porch?
Well,
Has to be
basically-
off 11 PM to 6 AM? Just to help me understand that.
Right, so then it says or, right? Be automatically turned off after 15 minutes of no activity, or, so three
This is-
conditions, right?
This is commercial.
Oh, this isn't residential?
All commercial.
It's all commercial.
Oh.
Commercial and subdivisions.
Oh, my bad, I didn't
Yeah,
read
I'm with
the.
you, because I drive down my driveway, all the lights go on.
But yeah, and all the freaking, but this is commercial. All right.
Commercial, yeah.
Yeah, typically we don't regulate residential.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was like, was on the car break-ins, but this is commercial.
So regulating temporary holiday lights, really? Temporary holiday lights, only on for no more than 60 days, 12 months of the period, off between the hours of midnight, 11 o'clock and sunrise.
Well, you know what, that's, when I try to enforce that, they tell me what the new holiday is.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
It's Halloween,
Juneteenth.
It's Thanksgiving,
Yep.
It's Thanksgiving.
it's Christmas, it's my birthday.
Labor Day.
Is that something we really want to regulate, holiday lights? I don't know.
I'm one of those, I don't know. In case there's that, yeah.
I feel
I'm
like my
torn, 'cause, like-
Christmas lights on like January 1. I'm like, all right.
Because
Christmas lights need to
this
be
is still
done.
commercial, right? Holiday lights are
Commercial.
commercial.
Commercial, right?
Yeah,
I don't know, Coco.
I don't think we should regulate holiday lights, because if I don't like my neighbor, I'm going to be calling the police, Dave, zoning enforcement continually, because,
But this is commercial.
It's still commercial.
I like that.
I mean, I always, just in case you get that one, I don't know, business, because commercial means business, right?
Yep.
That's just, I don't know. I always like being able to give people the option of being able to enforce something versus, I don't usually think it's an issue, but I don't know.
I'm trying to think, where would it be an issue?
Well, the Mill Pond Tavern,
Are those holiday lights, or are they decorative run? I got pulled over for having lights on my car because yes. And the cop pulled me over and said that he thought it was an emergency vehicle because I had colored lights on.
And colored lights.
And and the first thing out of my mouth is, you pulled me over and you thought I was an emergency vehicle?
And you stopped.
And I stopped.
Yeah, I say
I ended
around.
up unplugging them. But, yeah, I mean, that is the definition of what are holiday lights.
I think eliminating the holiday lights would be a plus.
Okay.
And then the additional standards for commercial.
Or how about, oh, my bad.
No, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just thinking decorative lights, because,
Yeah.
like, decorative lights? Because, like, those could get out of control. I think giving you or any zoning officer the option of being able to do something for the residents versus not is more helpful.
Well, let's look at number 7, that's prohibited.
Prohibited lighting.
Strips of light intended to outline or highlight a structure, whether composed of linear light tubes or subsequent of individual illumination sources. Is that like landscaping light, Dave? Is that landscaping light outside?
Yeah.
That's prohibited.
Yeah, those are the ones that make your house look like a gingerbread house.
Yeah, well, maybe somebody wants that on their commercial business to highlight it.
No.
No, you're not making the rules, we are. Yeah. Definitely lasers. I think we should have lasers. I'm only kidding.
Yes.
You're pointing in people's eyes.
Big strobe lights that every business.
Oscillating, like floodlights, okay, I'm okay with B and C. What's a luminous tube lights? Okay, anybody know?
Fluorescent.
The fluorescent.
Okay. Searchlights is E, okay. Unless it's at Shine On Rod's house, but yeah. Illumination of entire buildings. Entire building. Facades lumens shall be limited to security lighting or lighting specific architectural. All right. They're saying no. Lighting of specific architectural features you can't. Electronic signboards, digital billboards, or dynamic electronic signs. Okay. Ours are only on town signs. Floodlights are projected above the horizon. Okay, yeah. Billboards and rooftop signs. Okay. So here's 8 here, non-conforming lights, which we may have, right, that this lighting may affect. Any lighting which exists lawfully on the effective date of these regulations shall be legal non-conforming. Any substantial change to the premises requiring site plan approval or require conformance to the current regulations. That's kind of what we were battling with previously. Guy comes in, they bought this property, I want to do this. Are you doing anything with the lighting? No.
Right.
But he came in with a site plan approval, so would that then allow us to say, reject
Yeah.
it? Right.
And anytime they replace a light other than just like putting in the light bulb, they've got to come into conformance.
Okay.
Question on searchlights.
No, you
No.
can't have one.
Not even at Poco Fest?
Poco Fest can do whatever they want.
Is that under critical lighting on number 5, exempt lighting?
Now, what about the rooftop signs? That's like big Y, right? Isn't there the big Y? Isn't that on their roof?
How about NBIS is on the side of their building?
Yeah, that's true.
Knock it down.
Nothing.
I'd have to look at it.
I think, yeah.
It's on like it's like on the facade above the building, right?
There was something in the news that was good to have because a woman was living above a grocery store in Michigan in the sign.
Like she
She was on
not
the roof.
supposed to
Yeah,
be
this is
there?
like 2 months ago. She was lived there for over a year. She was working from home using their internet. And I don't know where she was showering, maybe at her gym, but she would work from home in her sign. And it's undercover, and I guess she did it for like a year and 2 months. And when the cops told her, like, hey, they're trespassing, you say, okay, no issues, and just left.
Treating it for
34-year-old woman. Not homeless, she had a car. She was like using the ladder to get up.
It was creative, yeah. My only experience with signs like that is watching a Boston Red Sox game from the Citgo sign in left
Yeah.
field. I climbed up there.
You did?
Isn't it, yeah, somebody during COVID climbed into,
How they get heating?
they climbed into the stadium from the Green Mountain. I don't think it's a good sign though.
So I'd like to address these issues. Maybe we could open a public hearing on these things in July?
Sure. For all of them, Dave?
And then we can take the public hearing for months until we make a decision.
Okay.
I have one other issue, which we approved a subdivision on Totoket Road across from 400 Totoket Road by DeLongo and by the Farm River. What TF was the applicant? 8-9 lot subdivision, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That was storage units, right?
What?
Those were storage units, right?
No, they're single-family homes.
Yeah.
On Totoket Road, just north of Mill Road and Borelli,
Oh, okay.
across
On
from
other end of
the
road.
quarry in East Haven.
Yeah.
And it's been a disaster of a subdivision from an administrator's point of view. They have not completed easements that they were supposed to give to the town. They haven't completed pieces of the road that they were supposed to give to the town. It's been a disaster. And one of the pieces is open space. And they have not given the open space to anybody. So that space has basically been an orphan. And everybody's moved in, and now they're beginning to encroach on the property. The land trust would really like to get on that property and start using it. The town would like to see us start developing that property, but the land trust does not want to accept the property due to the fact that there are culverts in the river that have been placed, and the land trust wants them to be removed before they take access to the property.
What's a culvert? What's a culvert?
They're big pipes in the river
Okay.
to get across the Farm River to the back of New Biggs Way,
Okay.
where there's a DEEP cleanup going on that's accessing those culverts to bring the debris to the west side of the property to dispose of it. So those culverts aren't going to be removed for probably 2 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they're needed, it is what it is.
So the condition of the subdivision was that that land be deeded to the land trust. And I would like to change that condition so that the deed could be deeded to the applicant as open space with access to the public to be given to the land trust after the culverts are removed from the river. I want to change that condition.
So is that the only access, Dave, back there? Is across those culverts to get to the property behind Marjorie Drive and New Biggs Way?
Well, they don't want to come into Marjorie Drive and disrupt those people, and they don't want to go out New Biggs Way. The easiest way is to come out on the Totoket Road.
Okay.
And that was sort of part of the DEEP settlement, and it's a little bit difficult for me to deal with a federal lawsuit and tell them they can't do what they want to do.
You have zero power.
So is it my understanding that anything behind Marjorie Drive is land trust property? Is that right?
No, that's
somebody else?
that's
Oh,
what TF property.
okay. Gotcha.
And then when you get further north, it becomes town property and land trust property, but that lot itself is DeLongo's.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna, your proposal is leave the culverts in, but to deed the property to the land trust?
Deed it, they'll quit claim it to themselves.
Okay.
With public access to the public.
And then when it's done, it goes.
And future moving to the land trust.
Okay.
And the faster we can do it, the better, because the mill pond north of Mill Road is all full of water chestnuts, and we need to get all that stuff out of there. The alewives can't get up the river. I mean, there's all sorts of good reasons for us to have public access. We applied for a grant to clean up that portion of it, and the major reason that we did not get the grant was that we had no public access to the river. This way we have public access, we can control it, it's not an orphan anymore. People are down there trespassing, now we can enforce good use of it. The Wetlands Commission's not happy about what's going on. And
so do we assume as a town the responsibility to maintain that access to get to the back?
I think once there's public access, the public, I think there's a bunch of advocate groups out there, the Friends of the Farm River Estuary, the Farm River Coalition, that would be happy to assist in maintaining it along with the land trust.
And ultimately it'd be ours anyway, down the road, right?
Yes.
Or it already is ours.
No, it would be the land trust.
Land trusts, okay. So we're just accelerating that part, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So I will try to write up a condition and get the deeds ready and talk to the 6 attorneys I'm dealing with to try to make it work.
Okay. All right.
And with that,
You're good.
I'm done.
Okay. Anything else commissioners would like to add, subtract? I think we can move on to item number 9.
Oh, what could that possibly be?
I think that's your cue.
Looking at the schedule, I motion we adjourn.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, this meeting is adjourned at 8:38.